how do you keep this extremely high frequency of energy throughout everything that you're doing? Like you're putting 38 deals on the market right now. You're a director at this business. You're calling auctions. You're doing charity auctions. How do you keep this high frequency at all times? Because it's not one day up, one day down. It's consistent, and it's been consistent for a long time. That's the reputation.
In terms of physical energy, I do a lot in terms of looking after myself physically.
Hour and a half in the gym every morning.
Mate, it's not the gym. It's the Instagram photos of his rig out with this with the 8-pack, and the girls are like, "Damn, what's this, mate? You gotta fucking pick your game." And I was like,
I've been absolutely, since I posted that story, it's the only thing I've posted in 3 years. A story in Bali. I was at the family. We did like a 2-hour circuit. I did 2 hours. They did 1 hour. I had my wife, my daughter, my son Duke, who's ripped, and my his girlfriend is really fit. We did with a friend. We did a quick photo. Posted it, thinking not much, mate. I've been drilled. Really positive, but then other people, I had like 400 messages from it. But in terms of that, I just came into the mindset. I caught up with Tom Panos actually in 2019, 2020, did some mentoring, and I just thought really learned about peaking, and I just thought if I become athlete fit in real estate, like an NRL player and AFL players, where I'm at my absolute peak when I'm working in I call them the real estate seasons. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to give myself a chance. So one thing, I call the off season, like an AFL player in NRL, I can go and enjoy myself, and that's between December the 23rd. I actually work till Christmas Eve, and then from December the 24th to, let's call it January the 31st, I get to enjoy myself. I get to live normal, go out, have some drinks, eat. I still train and stuff, but between February and July the 1st, in that real estate season before the July holidays, and back in August till December, it is on. It's, I'm like a real estate athlete. Don't drink during the weeks. I rarely drink during the year. I might night drink once every month on a Saturday night if I go to a function and it's light, because I love training on a Sunday morning. I love being fresh on a Sunday, but that's what gets the energy. So elite fitness and health, mentally and physically, because I'm never hungover, and I'm always training. And then obviously just the energy you give by being around good people and loving what you do. And sorry for that long answer.
No. Mate, you look like you could step on stage at Mr. Olympia. But do you think the energy you put into your training, does it ever take away from your ability to perform in real estate? Like, do you ever feel you're burning the candle at both ends, or do you just get such a high from it that you transfer that energy into your performance?
Well, you know what? It's a good question, because when I was about 4 or 5 years ago, when I really took that turn in 2019, 2020, I used to be really fatigued sometimes, and I thought it could cost me. But I've got to tell you that if I haven't trained, like I've got a rule, I never train for less than 2 days in a row, for more than 2 days in a row. So I'm always training. So I train every week 6 days on, then the next week 5 days on, 2 days off. So I do 11 training sessions out of 14 every week. Wow. Because I can only go so hard. I just feel, Dan, that if I don't train, I'm never mentally the same. I've got the right nutrition, supplements, etc. I feel amazing. And if I haven't trained, I just don't feel great during the day. It's funny, but I feel mentally sharp. As you get into early 40s, I'm taking things like brain tablets, NMN, joint tablets, stuff like that during the day. Vitamin C's, all that sort of stuff, and just looking after my health. Nutrition.
Do you crash like at the end of the day, or are there points in the day where your energy isn't at peak?
Not really. If I have too big of a lunch, like I try not to have too carb lunch, I just have chicken wraps and stuff like that. But never really, mate. To be honest, I crash on a Friday at about 6-7 o'clock. And I go home every Friday, and it's funny because my wife might go out with some of the mums, or even if she's home, it's quite a quiet night. My kids are in and out because they're a bit older, and all I do is rest on the couch because I need a big Saturday. So I redo that energy. But I do crash on a Saturday night now. I got home on Saturday at 6:30, and I was just doing a last FaceTime call with a vendor in my car, and I walked in at 6:50, and I was exhausted, and because I knew I put Monday to Saturday, I had the biggest week, and I put everything to it. Energy to every person I met that day. I did 14 opens on Saturday. So I do, but that's the reason I eat really healthy. I drink a lot of water. I mean, BCAA, amino acids, just the most healthiest sort of way. Green smoothies every day in the middle, which is kale, spinach, banana, coconut water. All that nutrition I do, it gives me energy to help us to get there. So on a Saturday night, I generally crash unless I got an event. I'm on the couch with the kids, with my wife, recovering / watching. I eat some protein ice cream, get chicken and roast potatoes, eat Old Gold dark cocoa chocolate because I can't, I don't like too much sugar. And then on a Sunday, I train for like 3-hour day, have the biggest training session, have this routine, but I crash again by about 1 o'clock and I just rest most Sundays.
How do you protect your energy when you've got 30 plus current clients and then you'd have to have a lot more than that you're chasing?
Yeah.
How do you protect your energy?
It's a good question. So I make sure I sleep every night, 7 to 8 hours. So for example, if I don't get to sleep at midnight tonight, for example, for some unknown reason, so we go out, us two and I take you out, which I'm usually in bed by 10, but just for example, I don't get to bed to midnight, then I'm not going to wake up at 6 like I usually do. I'm going to wake up at 8 or 7:30.
Yeah,
right. And I'm going to push my day out tomorrow and push everything out and work tomorrow till 8, 9 o'clock. So sleep is important. I make sure I sleep. Doesn't matter what time I start, what time I finish. I sleep between 7 to 8 hours tops every day for recovery, my cells. I've done a lot of things. So, and then spiritually, Kev, is I make sure I train. So that I train between really light session 1.5 and really big session 2.5. I train 1.5 to 2.5 hours every day in the gym. Different training, like sometimes on a Monday morning I'll get there, I'll do spin bike for an hour, then I'll do weights for an hour and a half. Then a Tuesday I'll do boxing. But I'll change it. But what I do, that helps me spiritually. And when I get to the gym, sometimes it's no phones, but at some stage I might do a gratitude thing 3 or 4 times a week where I just write things I'm, got gratitude for: family, health, opportunity, that sort of stuff. So the physical stuff is getting there and working out. And then the mental stuff is, just spiritually being able to have a good life and just see that. Yeah. And it's sleeping well, I've got a really good mentor. I won't say who he is, but he doesn't sleep that well. And I say, mate, it's so important. Trust me, if you sleep well, it'll change your life. So yeah, there's some nights I haven't been sleeping well because of stress with vendors and stuff. Then I'll just start my day later, but then I'll work till 9 o'clock that night, so that's the greatest thing about real estate. We're not a 9 till 5:30 job. You can work, you can start later or you can start really early. I might say I want to go away tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So I'll wake up at 5, start my day early, train earlier, get the office 7. Like you can do that. That's the greatest thing because you run your own little business.
So you mentioned there's sometimes at night you'll cop a bit of the stress. What are you doing in those situations, Matty, to kind of navigate and optimize yourself so the next day you're not carrying that energy forward?
Yeah. It's, look, I just try to say, like about 9:30, I'll try to switch off. Then I'll just, I'll put everything in perspective. So put my phone away. I'll go and see my kids. My kids are like Duke's 16 and a half and Stella's 15, and they're like young adults. So I'll just go and spend 10, 15 minutes with them. Talk. If I haven't been home for a family, a lot of times, Dan, I'll try to get home at 7:30 because they both work a bit now. We have a family dinner at 7:30. We eat half an hour, no phones. Then about 8 o'clock, look, they want to get upstairs to their room on their phones, do their homework anyway. So I get a good 35 quality minutes with them. And then I'll go back into my home office and I'll go, who haven't I called today? So I work till about 9:15. Then I go, to alleviate the stress is a bit of things like put the phone away, go and say goodnight, spend some time with my wife. I might have a Greek yoga with banana. There's this new sort of lion's mane powder that helps you switch off. It's a natural sort of... no phone in bed. I've changed that. So I put my phone charger about 3 meters away. I have these things called leg compression boots. My wife takes the piss out of me, excuse my French. But I sit on that either in bed. So last night I was sleeping in bed with these leg boots on. They're worth about $2,500. They're black boots that you sort of see at recovery lounges. So I use that. That helps me because I'm sore from training. Just a combination of things, taking magnesium thing. It's just, and just thinking work is important, but not everything.
You run at such a high pace and at an athlete level, and the expectation and discipline that you put on yourself is obviously high. How do you balance that with your team and the expectations you put on them?
Yeah, that's been a bit. Yeah, it's a good question. I've got a really good team, so I've been quite fussy where I'm not going to settle for a team with low work ethic. I'll be honest. So I have had some turnover, but I've really had a good settled team now for a few years, and I've had the best. I've got the best EA Samantha I've ever had in my career. I've got Kevin Yim, I've got this real estate agent. We sat him down. He's got the best work ethic I've ever seen. I've had Melissa with me by side, who's understood me. She's been with me. She came across from my old agency and followed me here. So she's been with us for 4 years. And then I've got, Alex, my business partner. So it's just that they just say look, it's just that they expect, no, they don't expect me to ask them to work as hard as I do, but I want to lead from the front, because who am I as a director and boss to say, you got to work hard if I'm not working hard? So I try to lead from the front. When I played footy, how could I ask a teammate to go in hard? Well, I wasn't the most skilled player, but I was most physical, or just about, in terms of physicality and going in so hard and body contact. So my team would always, mate, he's going to back us. So that's the way I feel like it is sometimes with your colleagues, because they know. I don't expect, like last night, there was a night here, I was here till 9 o'clock, and I could just see my colleague, he works till late, he works till 7:30, Kevin does. And I could see him looking at me like he just wanted to go home, the poor guy. And I was like, mate, go. I don't expect you to be. It's 7:30. It's unbelievable. He's like, fuel. Thank God. Mate, he was about to collapse. Mate, well done. But look, the reason is too, I've got such a big why.
Walk us through it.
Yeah, just growing up with low finances and I knew what, actually, my cousins lived in a really high wealth area and I was quite close with them. So I actually knew what was out there in terms of having the greater things in life. But, going through the hardship and financial hardship as a young kid, good family, but financially always tough, especially those years between, I reckon, the memorable years as a young man, as you guys would know, you're much younger than me, but when you're 13 or 16, they're big times in your life growing up, and they were really, really bad times for me financially and through schools and stuff. So for me, it's a combination of being around some really successful people recently going, mate, you work hard now, you can plan your life. You don't struggle financially when you're 60, 70, and 80. Because I've seen a lot of 60, 70, 80-year-olds now struggling financially. And I want to have a great life. I want to be able to travel a lot when I'm older and be healthy physically, and I want to give my kids what I did not have, and importantly make them happy though. So I try to spend enough time as a dad, not just about money, because I have witnessed wealthy people financially, but they're not wealthy in family, health, love in their relationships, right? So it's that balance. So that really drives us to give my kids a better life, have a better life, have what I didn't have growing, my first 30, 40 years. And yeah, it's a big combination of all that thing.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another Both Sides podcast. Just want to say a big thank you for the support up until now. If you've got value from the episode, could you please go like and follow us on the social platforms, for example, Spotify and YouTube, as that will help us continue to get better quality guests. Bye for now.